The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Wrestling to the Max, Monday Night Raw, review.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wrestling to the Max's Raw review for June 19th, 2017, and we are brought to you by W2Mnet.com and 411 Mania. That's right, you can find us on there, plus you can also go find us on any place where you love to find podcasts, like on iTunes or any other place. That's right, just go search out Wrestling to the Max, or if you love everything over there at W2Mnet.com and the family that we have over there, make sure you go subscribe to the W2M Network. That's right, so some great places to go find us. We appreciate all of you who rate and review, and if you haven't done it, go ahead and go do that now. I am Gary Vaughan, and your host is Mr. Sean Garmer tonight.
What's up, everybody? I feel like it's been forever since I've done a Raw.
I know. I don't even know the last time you've done a Raw, but hey, I mean, at least we're having this opportunity to get you involved, and we had to do it a day late to do it, but that's okay.
I fell asleep. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You know, you and Paul both have had big weekends, and that's fine. So, hey, I'm just happy we're doing this. There's a lot that happened on this Raw that I think really needs to be talked about, so we're going to do that.
Yeah, this wasn't a... Well, neither one of the shows were wrestling heavy. It was much more story being told this week from WWE television. And that's fine, because apparently the audience spoke for the 9-week high for Raw this week, back to post-WrestleMania numbers. Of course, it helps when nothing else is freaking on TV, but, you know, unless you want to watch baseball, which who wants to watch that? So...
Oh, man, that's a shot. You're going to get some hate mail now.
Well, I mean, soccer's in the morning, so, you know, there's nothing on at that time. So, anyway, Roman has his big announcement, guys. Oh, my God. This big announcement. Oh, now I joke, but he did actually do a very good Roman promo of basically saying little, basically messing with the crowd a little bit, knowing that they're going to boo him, and he basically says, look, I'm the number one contender, and this is my yard, and I make the rules around here, and basically nobody's telling me what to do, whether it's Brock or whether it's that guy named Joe that comes out of Great Balls of Fire. He's the number one contender. Well, that guy named Joe decides that he wasn't very happy about this, so he comes out and he reminds Roman Reigns that, hey, you never beat me. I beat you the time that we faced each other, and so I should be the number one contender. Technically, he is right now, and that Roman emphasizes again that he is just Joe. So, you know, the guy really named Joe and then Samoa Joe have a face-off, and Joe headbutts him without bleeding. And Samoa Joe then just kicks his butt, and we find out later that, well, after Roman has to get a Superman punch in, because, you know, why not? We find out this will be a match that we're having, and it winds up not being the main event either. Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns. This match was actually really good. Went almost 20 minutes. These guys went back and forth with each other, just beating each other up. I like that both guys had a chance to go to the floor after, you know, an exchange that neither one enjoyed there. Joe wins because a ambulance shows up, and coming out of the ambulance is Braun Strowman, and the crowd went nuts because Braun is back, and I don't know why this is not a t-shirt yet. I'm not finished with you yet. And causes a distraction. Joe gets in the coquina clutch. And he doesn't tap out. The ref just calls for the bell after a while. So, really good match, and Braun Strowman is back.
Yeah, I'm excited about Braun Strowman being back. That's a really big deal because this guy was basically on a great roll, had a lot of momentum going, and then when he got injured with the elbow, it just kind of affected everything, and it was a domino effect, and really led us on a different journey. But that's okay. I mean, hey, it's ecstatic that he's back sooner than he was supposed to be, right? I mean, he was supposed to be gone for another 3 months or something. So this is great, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to be doing here at Great Balls of Fire. And, I mean, you could go either way in that match still because they could still continue to push Braun Strowman or, do what they do usually, and that's have Roman Reigns come up with the victory. Nonetheless, just great to have Braun Strowman back. Here's what I wanted to kind of really jump into with this, Sean, and it's the fact that they had a good match here. They did what they were supposed to do. It took the distraction for Joe to get the upper hand. I think that's fine. I get it. Wasn't a fan.
Beat him clean, though.
Yeah, it has happened. Here's the thing: when you're leading up to a big match with Brock Lesnar, right? One of the key guys when you talk about Monday Night Raw, or just in general. I mean, both brands, you could say Brock Lesnar is one of the most difficult guys to overcome. I think you need Joe to go into this looking really strong, and they've done a great job building him. They really have, and honestly, I've really liked what they've done. This episode really kind of threw me for a loop here because it's like, hey, we want to kind of slow the momentum down a little bit. Let's put him against Roman Reigns, the modern-day John Cena, where, maybe he kind of has to look a little bad. Maybe he has to kind of get out of the ring and hold his jaw like, man, that Superman punch was bigger than anything I've ever encountered in my entire life. I don't know if I want that to be what I see him doing right before he's facing Brock Lesnar. It doesn't make me feel good. I want to see him going to face Brock Lesnar with all the momentum going. And Sean, maybe I'm nitpicking, but I just kind of hated that. I wanted him to come in here and maybe not destroy Roman Reigns, but have an even kill match where they have as a pull apart. They had to just DQ the match and say, guys, you guys are fighting too hard. We're going to end it.
Well, look, it's Roman. They want to show that he is the man, and it doesn't matter how much we complain about it, it's what they're going to do. When it comes to Roman, no one's going to look weak with him, very much like with Cena. Sometimes they would make guys look bad, even though they were in another feud, because John Cena is king, so... Yeah. Yeah.
I understand that. I totally get that fact. That's why I'm saying I'm not complaining really about Roman Reigns. I get it. That's something I have to live with. But it's the fact that you didn't have to have this matchup. You really didn't. I mean, there's really no reason you just had to do it. You could have done something else.
But Joe wins.
No, but by distraction, though. That's my point. It's still by distraction.
He still won. Like
they were leading you down the road.
It'd be different if Joe lost.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's really a big deal. He won. He choked him out. Yeah, he didn't tap out, but he choked him out. And yeah, now he can go and you can start the feud again with Braun. I mean, that's what they wanted to do. They accomplished that. Joe can have another one in his pocket that he's now beaten Roman twice. I mean, so I don't really see the problem here.
The problem is that they led you to believe that if Braun Strowman wouldn't have been there, Joe would have had no way to win that match. I think that's what they were trying to tell you.
Well, right.
I mean, but that's my problem.
No, but Joe held his own in the match. I mean, it's not like Roman beat him down forever and then Braun comes and Joe, like a lot of these distraction things, it's not an even match. It's the one guy is beating up the other guy for the whole match, and then, here we go. So distraction happens, and, Oh, the other guy wins.
Yeah. I'll give you this. Go ahead. I'll let you finish your point.
No, I'm just saying that normally I would agree with you. I don't like the distraction finish, but the point is that they are still, even though they may allow Roman to soak in the booze, because they finally just realized you got to just let him do it because you're going against the grain for no reason. They might actually not boo as much if you stop having him just be a total babyface or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still a face, and Braun is still the heel. Doesn't matter how much the fans want to cheer for him. That's how they have faces lose matches a lot of times, is distraction finish.
Yeah. And it's something we don't always like, and that's just the way they played the game.
I mean, it wasn't a roll-up, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, it wasn't that terrible thing that they usually do. So I'm gonna give you three things that I think go against my argument, and it's just kind of funny to say this because I'm arguing for the other side. One of those is the Coquina Clutch looks amazing now, even more than it already did, because he chokes out who, right? Roman Reigns, one of the top dogs, the guy that owns the yard, right? So that's a big deal. That's what we're going to remember down the line. We're going to remember the Coquina Clutch was that powerful. The second thing is really Roman Reigns didn't look great coming out the end because guess what? Braun Strowman treats him pretty awful here. So Roman doesn't get a chance to really come out of this looking super awesome. That's another thing. So there you go. And I think the third thing that we got to look at here is the fact that you do still have that feeling that both the matchups, no matter if you're not talking about Brock Lesnar on this episode, still look good, because now instead of just having one big huge matchup, now coming out of this you see that there's even even better news, knowing that there's a second big matchup for Great Balls of Fire. So all that's really good stuff, and honestly that's a positive I got to come away with this. Even though maybe I'm not a fan of some of it, I think that stuff is overwhelmingly good, and I have to argue against myself on that. But the only thing I'm not going to argue against, Sean, is I hate the new gear. I did not like the Superman Punch shirt, the Roman's, the logo thing. Don't have him wear that. Just let the kids wear that. That looks silly for him to wear. I just thought it was stupid.
I do agree with that. He shouldn't be wearing a shirt that, yeah. Not every shirt that you make do these guys need to come out wearing. Just let him sell it and have him wear something else. So moving on here, after we get through this arc of Joe and Reigns, do they also have a? No, they don't. I think they do. They do have a video segment with Brock and talking about how he's not scared of Joe and all that. I thought that was fine. Nothing special that we haven't seen Brock do before. But it's build up for that match, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it works.
Then you have the Hardys and Anderson Gallows, technically your first match of the show. This was about 10 minutes. It was your average tag match. Anderson and Gallows actually got to do a lot. I feel bad for Anderson almost getting his neck chopped off by Jeff Hardy. And then Jeff Hardy almost breaking his neck too. But other than that, they get the Twist of Fate and Swanton combo to win, and the champions, or the ex-champions, still look strong here. So.
Yeah, I mean, this is nothing to write home about, right? We've seen these type of matches. Usually we got Gallows and Anderson involved. It's about helping whatever tag team that they're facing. At least they gave those guys a good match, like you said, a lengthy match compared to maybe a 3 to 5 minute match. So that's important. And I still, think that they're trying to prove that the Hardys are still a great team, but they're trying to make their way back to getting their titles, and beating teams like this is the only way they're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta keep showing that you're at the top of the heap, right? So you gotta keep winning. No issue there. I mean, Gallows and Anderson are where they are in the pecking order, and don't know if a lot's going to change there, especially after the Hardys come and you're shoving another team down. So this feud with Goldust and Truth has been going out through promos. This time he actually invites Truth to the Shattered Truth. A story about our truth, I guess. And I'm glad that we're taking another step in this feud. The videos have been, nice, and this one was good too. And then Truth also has one in black and white where he accepts. Don't remember exactly what he says, but it's another good one from Truth again. So these two keep having this very entertaining feud back and forth, and I hope this is. I'm gonna guess that a Great Balls of Fire is gonna lead to a match, at least on the pre-show or something, and
Yeah, and honestly, this works great for the fact that it works to really Goldust's strength, and that's cutting these video promos where he feels like that old Goldust. And if it's in the ring, then it's not as spectacular. And sure, he could come out and dress in the old garb and do everything he's done in the past. I just think it's something special when he's in the director's chair. I think it actually makes you kind of have that ambiance about you and watching it. And I think, honestly, R-Truth comes off pretty well, too, when he's doing these video promos. So I'm happy with them, and they don't get old. That's the one that you got to say and give WB credit for. They don't feel like this is old. A lot of times when they do this type of stuff, it gets so repetitive and honestly boring. They do a great job of changing it up and having them, of course, with some other great movie quotes and some other verbiage. So I'm loving that. I think it works. And, hey, if they've got to move on to something else in this feud to get it even hotter, I'm down with it. But I hope it's just as good as what they've done.
Yeah, they keep doing this really well, and let's see how they move it along again. Whether it's Goldust is finally going to tell a story about Truth and he's going to get upset, or just, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really know. They're feuding, but it's over video, so until they get physical, you don't really know if this is going to go anywhere or not.
Yeah, and not a ton to talk about either because there's no other interaction, right?
Right.
So
they're not even interacting with each other. They're interacting with each other through video separately. So then we have the Drifter. I've been enjoying the Drifter. He comes down and he stares down. He's going to come out to play a song, but he gets interrupted by the next match that's supposed to happen by Finn Balor. And we're robbed of what we're supposed to be doing here. You suck, Finn. I wanted to hear the Drifter song. But, later, after this match with Bo Dallas that Finn Balor has, which Bo Dallas gets quite a bit of offense on Balor. He goes nuts on Finn Balor for a while. Of course, Bo Dallas has lost his way. He almost looks like he should be in the Wyatt family, the way he looks on this show. Finally, Balor just says, you know what, that's enough of that, and hits the PK. He slams Bo into the barricade a bunch of times. It was pretty nasty after a while, and then he hits that coup de grace to win. I guess that he is feuding with the Drifter, but yeah, the Drifter goes and beats up Finn because he did not get to do his song, and you deserve it, Finn. You deserve it.
Isn't it kind of funny? You're sitting here talking about the Drifter, the guy we were all like, good God, shut him up on NXT.
He works on the main roster, though. That's such a main roster gimmick.
You're right, exactly. It just did not have a great fit in NXT. It's a different scene. And we've talked about that plenty of times, so we won't stay on that. But I think, this is actually, once again, they're playing their cards right with the Drifter, having him do something that's actually important and actually getting the point across that they want, and that's that this guy matters. Even though he comes out and plays music and he's a little silly, he comes out looking very strong at the end of this, right? Finn Balor, a guy that we all kind of look at to be, one of the best competitors that Monday Night Raw has to offer, and you got this guy called the Drifter basically punking him out, So that's a good thing for the Drifter, and I think it's going to end up being something that's going to be probably a little bit more fun than we ever would have expected in the matchup. So I think that's good. I think it works great for the Drifter, and Finn Balor. He's in a spot that it's kind of weird, right? He's in that right below, main event status, but not a mid-carder. He's kind of somewhere in that level. And right now he's kind of lost. He's a lost puppy that really is trying to find his way, and, maybe matching up with the Drifter will help. We kind of saw in this matchup with the Bo Dallas.
I don't know that he's trying to find his way. They just don't have anybody for him to feud with right now. Everybody's taken up.
I know, and that's kind of weird, though, because with a lot of, hey, it's Finn Balor, he's back, and all this excitement, and then just but he's not going anywhere, just to let you know.
I think also the Braun coming back early kind of messed that up, because he was going to be one of the guys going against Brock. And then, Braun's back, so, we can't have him keep facing Roman, because then Braun's got to face Roman, and now they're probably going to build to Brock and Braun again. And then he was doing a thing with Wyatt for a while, and then they decided to spin that off and go into the next thing that we're going to talk about here.
Yeah.
Well, that's my point. Finn just doesn't have anybody, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't have, but that's my point, is the fact that instead of matching up with one of these other guys like a Bray, they're not doing that. And that's why I'm saying he's lost puppies, for the fact that he's not in these marquee matchups. He's not, immediately thrown into one of those.
Now we found out why, though, because of the segment, that Rollins has to be in a feud.
Yeah.
Because they now have to go into very slow, because this game doesn't come out until October 17th. But we found out a couple of days ago that the cover boy for WWE 2K18 is Seth Rollins. The slogan this year is "Be Like No One." And so since he is being like no one, he goes and raids the WWE archives and burns everything. And burns the entire building down, even cutting off the head of Andre the Giant statue. Which is cool. It's a cool visual for the trailer for the game. I don't know if this means that Seth Rollins' career is now the main story mode, or if it means anything, because last time the story mode really had nothing to do with what the commercial was about, so we'll see, obviously.
That'd be a nerve-wracking storyline, though, because every time you'd be playing the game, you'd have a knee injury to put you out, 6 months to a year. So that'd be kind of like, oh God, don't get injured.
Yeah. So how are you gonna do that? You're just gonna skip the parts where he's out for a year, I guess.
Or you have to rehab, how long it takes you to rehab is.
Yeah. A mini game where you play, do all the weights and stuff. I don't know how much that would work for a game, but it would be interesting, certainly.
Yeah.
If they decide to do it. But Seth Rollins talks because of this. And he cuts a very face promo. This doesn't work with me with Seth Rollins. He shouldn't be the rah-rah, oh, you guys are my guys. I'm your cover. This is not just my cover. It's our cover. And what else? And then, oh my God, the worst thing, the crowd chants, "You deserve it," because he got the cover. Oh my God. Do you know how many people look at that cover, they take the game out, or they don't even look at the cover because they buy it digitally, and it means nothing. At the end, I mean, look, it means something for Seth Rollins, okay? That's a big deal. It's cool. It's a cool thing. But at the end of the day, once you start playing the game, you don't give a crap about who's on the cover. So, you know, I just... And you can't judge by who's on the cover as far as why the game sold more. It's what's in the game. But still, like, just... it is now officially hit a new low.
Yeah, the "you deserve it" stuff is terrible. I'm sorry. Like, usually, I get it, guys. You know, the crowd is chanting something that, you know, you could maybe get behind, like, you know, a Hall of Famer. You know, oh, yes, they deserve it. Okay, hey, I get that, man. That's great. Chant that. This is not the point where you chanted. I'm sorry. That was just cringeworthy. I was embarrassed. I felt like one of those old people who goes, "There's all the stupid chants." And that's not what it's about. But, man, that just was, ugh. And you're right, Sean. Me and you agree with this. And I was going to get on here and complain, and I guess I don't need to. But I was just thinking to myself, God, Seth, leave that to Finn Balor. Like, Finn, it works with him, right? I mean,
yeah,
he just kind of has done that in the past. And
or like Brian, it works with him.
Yeah,
but
not Seth. Seth has built up such a great heel persona. Now he's like, oh, you know, once where I spit fire, I'm spitting candy canes at you guys. Here you go. And it just doesn't work. I'm okay with him being a face, and I'm okay with him coming out and saying, look, you know, I made a lot of bad decisions. I'm here to correct them. Leave it at that. Don't.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I thought about with my new stuff. I'm going to give you all my TVs. I'm going to give you guys all my furniture. You know, it's terrible. Don't even try that. So, yeah.
And then the worst part was that Bray Wyatt gets on the screen. And Seth Rollins, him and Rollins have a "what do we call ourselves" argument. Of Seth Rollins saying, "I'm the man." And Bray Wyatt, "Oh, I'm a god." And, well, gods only exist in your mind. And Bray just spouts off a bunch of nonsense. He comes down to the ring. He doesn't even get there because then Rollins just does a dive. And, Wyatt talks about taking my name in vain and stuff. It's like, oh my God, this is the dumbest feud ever.
You know what I call all of this? A waste of time. It is. It's boring. I just don't care. In fact, I love Bray Wyatt. I love everything about his character, but not what they're doing with it. And
what is so godly
boring
about Bray Wyatt?
Yeah, if he's a god at all, oof,
because he can teleport?
Yeah, that's all he can. You know what? He's a magician, not a god. I mean, that's all he is. And they definitely gone the wrong way, and I don't know. I'm not going to blame it on the controversy with his divorce and all that, but I'm just saying either someone backstage doesn't like him or creative really is.
I don't think creative knows what to do with him.
Yeah, they're dumbfounded.
I don't think they know what to do with Wyatt at all anymore because, like, how do you change his character? This is what he's been since he's been on the roster. And you had opportunities to really make him into this cult leader and all this stuff. You took all the men away from him. And then he's now by himself and he's just a lone dude. And a god that has no followers. I mean, really?
Yeah.
I think the Drifter has more going for him right now than Bray Wyatt does.
Oh, yeah, definitely. A lot more potential right now. And I hate to say that because, like I said, I am a Bray Wyatt fan. I don't hate on him because I don't like him. I hate on him because of what they've done to him. And, not all his fault. I can't give him all the blame. But, I mean, it is what it is. I've heard he's kind of fought backstage to get, some better storylines, but they're not giving in. So we'll see. Right now, I am bored of tears with Bray. And Seth Rollins, too. Both of them are just not doing anything for me.
Yeah, I don't know that they're doing anything for anybody right now. It's just, it's just weird. It's just, they're there, and it's like, oh, wait, well, that was the segment. Let's move on. And move on we shall to Akira Tozawa and TJP having a rematch from the 205 Live from the week before. This was fine. It was really here so you could do the whole stuff with the Titus brand, which I like this whole thing with the Titus brand and the Tozawa. I'm glad that we're sort of trying to make him a big deal. I love that Neville is just absolutely having none of this Titus brand stuff. He thinks it's absolutely the stupidest thing ever. And yeah, he just tells, even though Titus is sitting there talking about the power of Tozawa, Neville just does not give a crap about that. So, yeah, I love the fact that this is continuing. I think Titus actually does wonders for this. It's just then you get the negative stuff, which he talks about during this promo about how he and Apollo have a tag team match later on the night in the third hour, and Sheamus and Cesaro beat them in about less than 5 minutes. Cruz gets to hit one move. I thought this was supposed to be so that you could get Cruz over, not to get Titus over. But you're doing neither. Titus is funny, but that's about it. The dude still can't wrestle with the darn.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that tag matchup with Apollo and Titus, you knew it was coming. So I wasn't...
Can we have Tozawa and Apollo, please?
Yeah, now that's a way better matchup right there. You're already speaking music. That's. I think that you understood that the tag champs were going to go through the Titus brand. It is what it is. I think you're right about Titus O'Neil kind of doing some good for Akira Tozawa because of the fact that they are giving more of a spotlight on him and they're showcasing him in that way. Even though really Titus is just goofy, it still does something. What is also funny is Neville is like the secondary part of this. Like Neville's out there and he peers out and he's angry, but he really isn't involved strongly. He's just kind of sitting on the outskirts of all this whole stuff. So right now Tozawa is the guy with the spotlight while the champion is just kind of on the sideline looking in.
Exactly. Just... yeah, I don't know. At least they had both teams watching the monitor for each other's matches. But look, I'm glad the Sheamus and Cesaro are getting to look strong and all that. But I don't know. I could have done without this tag match, honestly. If you're not going to showcase Apollo, look, I get it. Titus is the guy with his own brand and whatever. I just feel like the good that you're doing to promote the brand and all this stuff, it doesn't help when they lose matches where they don't really look good, and it's only Titus that really gets to do anything. It's, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. I mean, honestly, this has not helped Apollo at all. It's more about Titus O'Neil's getting in the ring to show Apollo, hey, this is what you need to do this, do that. And come on, give Apollo credit. I mean, he's a talented wrestler.
Let's stop acting like Apollo doesn't know what he's doing.
Exactly. They've proven that the guy knows what he's doing. It's just that he can't win matches because there's something missing. Add that something missing instead of pretending like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Right. And that's where they're missing this here. Let's get some progression. I'm glad that you're adding somebody else to the Titus brand, but we need to start focusing on Apollo as well. Look, Akira Tozawa is great, and I'm glad that they're trying to put people together that know each other and stuff like that. But I hope at some point Titus is going to get out of the way here. There was a fun little thing here because we saw Bo Dallas earlier. Well, Miz goes and meets with Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas and tells them, look, how about you guys join my entourage and stop being losers and start being stars? And this is apparently because Maria and Mike debuted at Money in the Bank, so now you can't have two couples on the two shows. So you have to have an entourage for Miz now so that he's different. So going forward to the Miz TV segment where Miz is trying to correct his errors from last week, you got two really tall bears. Like, dude, if I saw this, I don't know about how your wife would feel, but I know my wife would be freaked out at these two really, really tall bears all of a sudden waving at me and holding things up. Then Miz also shows that he loves his wife, that they are both timeless, because he even used super glue and duct tape to fix the grandfather clock. And, Maurice was buying it for a while. And then Ambrose comes out to ruin the party. And Miz breaks the clock again and spills champagne on Maurice. Then Ambrose takes out Miz, but then the Bears beat up Ambrose, and you find out it's Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas. And you get the skull-crushing finale on Ambrose. And I like this. I like that we're using two guys that need attention and need to do something. And, hey, that's good.
Yeah, I think you're right on that, and it's something that has been needing to be done with these two guys, or something needs to be done with them, because really, honestly, they've just kind of been in the background. We haven't seen them; they've been gone. Now, finally, they are getting to be showcased in a manner, honestly, that I think can get them over. I mean, if anybody can do something with him, it's The Miz, right? He can talk them up. He can use them to a great advantage for himself. I think I'm pretty happy with this segment. The only thing I will say is I'm not really thrilled with the Miz and Maurice struggle, or the back and forth of them loving each other. Then she's mad at him and all this stuff, because it's good to an extent, but I think Maurice adds a lot to Miz, and she's a very important piece to what he's doing. So having her kind of against him right now, or being upset at him, I think it works in the short term. I'm afraid they're stretching it too far.
I have a feeling that maybe they'll reveal that they're doing this on purpose to mess with Ambrose, or, that they'll understand eventually or whatever. I don't mind that it keeps it away from just being about Ambrose and Miz, that somehow this feud is still going on when both guys need to have moved on by now. But they obviously don't have anything that they want to do with either guy, so they just have them doing this continually. And I think it's better than, more Ambrose and Miz crap. They're still having Ambrose and Miz going at each other, but it's a little bit different.
I think it's fine. I just would rather a slow burn compared to this has kind of gone a little fast here, and we still got a little time before we get to Great Balls on Fire. That's my biggest concern of, are you going to stretch this where, he keeps trying to make it better and then makes it worse? And there's only so many times you can do that. So that's my biggest fear. How much are you really going to do? And now that you've added the pieces of Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas to this whole equation, that kind of makes the things better, honestly, for The Miz. Despite his love relationship is not so great. His, situation by having two, wrestlers behind him at all times, kind of like we've seen with Jinder Mahal and other guys, it really does wonders for what you're wanting to do, and it honestly keeps that title with you. So I think that component kind of changes the game to an extent. But, I mean, hey, they may have some other things in store that I don't know about. I just, don't want to see some situation where they have Maurice long-term kind of against her husband.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Just, what are you supposed to do? She's pissed that he broke her gift. I mean, and then he tries to fix it and then screws up again. So she keeps being mad at him. I mean, I don't know. I think it sort of works. It's just, look, yeah, they could be doing something else, but I don't know. It's whatever to me. It's like these two shouldn't be feuding by now. They're trying to do everything they can. And at least they're adding Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel to it. So
that's what saved it for me. So
then you have the women show up at the end of the show almost because, hey, we have to have a women's segment and we have to throw them all out there for like about 5 minutes because we don't know what the hell we're doing. We're Raw and we don't know what to do with the women. And Sasha Banks and Nia Jax go out and have like a 1 minute match that ends by DQ because Alexa Bliss gets involved. Then Emma shows up. Then Sasha and Nia Jax are having the 1 minute match, by the way. And then you have more women show up. And finally, Bayley shows up to give, I think it's Emma, this nasty-ass knee that Kenny Omega would be proud of. And then, yeah, are we really going to have like a 7-way match at Great Balls of Fire? I thought we were past this, WWE. Why is it that SmackDown can center an entire show around women and you can't figure out what the hell to do with them on Raw? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's really night and day, and you know, as much as I hate, and we'll talk about this when we do our SmackDown Live review. As much as I hate sometimes the fact that they really take a lot of time to focus on each lady. Not that I don't like that focus, but sometimes it's a little much. I think they do the complete opposite here on Raw, and you still just have this group of girls thrown at you. You really, if you've never studied them, you really don't know much about them. You're still.
I mean, to be fair, SmackDown also has a feud where all the women are in one feud.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, it's just much better done.
Well, yeah, exactly. They actually do some build to them. Whereas on Raw, it's just like, hey, you're here. This is their name. Like them or hate them. That's all they give you, right? They don't really give you enough substance to really draw opinions about them either way. If, you wanted to draw that opinion. I look at this as just them rushing through a segment that they knew they had to have. Honestly, this entire show, Sean, I kept thinking to myself, they're not going to even showcase women. I really thought that. I thought this is going to be one of those shows where they don't even put them on. And they do it, but it's such in a quick manner. The only thing I got out of this is, hey, Bayley looks pretty decent in this. She gets a chance to really showcase herself with a lot of offense. Yay for her. That's something that they've needed to do, but maybe about a month ago. Not on this episode of Raw, maybe a month ago on Raw. So there you go. That's about all I got out of it. Other than that, it was just a hodgepodge.
Yeah, certainly. And then here we go with the final segment of the show. They had been building up throughout this that Kurt Angle was going to find out who done it with who attacked Cass and Enzo, and Corey Graves came in and talked about it as well. And then finally we find out here that Angle is going to call everybody he thinks is a suspect to the ring. So he calls the Big Show, he calls Enzo and Cass, and he calls the Revival. Well, we have all this posturing. Big Show again states his case that it wasn't him. Angle says it's the Revival. Well, the Revival say it's not them. And then Corey Graves comes out because he apparently did his own investigation because apparently Kurt Angle's an idiot. And then Corey Graves says that he talked to WWE Medical and that they never actually worked on Cass at all. And then Cass says, well, I got the EMTs are the ones that did work on me. And he says, okay, that's fair. They could have done. But we have tape. And so they show the tape of Cass basically setting up his own sabotage scene. And then basically laying down to show that he hit himself. And there we go. We are faced with the fact that it's Cass is the one that hit Enzo, and then Cass immediately says, "You're damn right, it was me." And he goes on to say that he's tired of Enzo having to stick up for him all the time, having to save his ass. He even tried to punk out Conor McGregor on Twitter, and he wanted to slap you. Nobody in the back likes you. I stick up for you. I feel sorry for you. You've been the reason that we've never won anything, and now I can leave you in the dust and become the star that I know that I am and be a winner. And Enzo just sells this like his heart is completely broken. His best friend just told him that he's a piece of crap and that he's the reason that he sucks. And yeah, this was really, really good. He gives Enzo a boot. And yeah.
Yeah,
you can't teach that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love him telling him that and then ripping the soft shirt off. So, if you watch this and you also watched Better Call Saul that Monday night, you had your heart broken a little bit twice because you heard some strong words come from people to the people that you really like, and you feel bad for them. And I felt so bad for Enzo, but this made sense. I mean, this was one of our first initial thoughts. Oh, man, it could be Kaz. And then we kind of try to talk ourselves out of it because I think a lot of us didn't want this to be the case, right? I think a lot of us enjoy these two guys together. They're fun. They at least add something to the tag division. But now you're getting this where it's done. And for all the right reasons, to be honest with you, because let's be honest, we all know that Kaz is the reason that team clicks. Enzo entertains us while Kaz wins or loses the matches. And
right.
And when he loses, it's because either he's detained and can't protect Enzo or, he's outnumbered. So saying that, all that made sense. I have no qualms against it. The only thing I wonder about is the future. And it's really not about Kaz because I know they're going to push Kaz in a certain direction and they're going to allow him to do things. I'm more worried about Enzo. And it leads me into a couple of thoughts here. Either Enzo is going to go on his little journey and maybe be off TV for a while or maybe try to prove something to Kaz, or vice versa, where what we saw with Big Show, Big Show left in a huff and said, maybe I don't need to be on your show, Kurt. And that makes me believe that there may be a trade involved with SmackDown where Big Show flops over to SmackDown and heads over there and works with them maybe. And, maybe even Enzo does something like that. But that's the thing, is it makes you wonder about the future of Enzo Amore more than anything here. I think it's compelling, but I don't know how much of a feud you have here because can you really believe that Enzo is going to be Kaz? I can't.
No, I don't think that. I think, in fact, unless they have I could see Kaz just whoop Enzo, and then Big Show comes in and tells him, well, how about you take on somebody your own size? And that starts Kaz's first big feud, where it's him and Big Show.
Mm-hmm. And that would be great, and I think you're onto something there. I think that's probably what does work out here, and eventually, is something we'll see Great Balls of Fire. But, it's kind of a sad day, knowing that this whole thing is over with Enzo and Kaz.
Well, they'll probably stretch that out till Great Balls of Fire with Enzo and Kaz, and then maybe the Raw after they have them get involved with each other or whatever.
Yeah, so maybe a SummerSlam thing where Enzo and Kaz and Big Show lock up at SummerSlam, which is a bigger matchup. You're right. So, but either way, I think they do have a path here. I just, like I said, I kind of hate that we're not going to be able to have fun with this tag team anymore. I am sure later on down the road they'll eventually get a chance to be tag team again, or maybe even Enzo becomes the mouthpiece for Kaz or something, or just has fun with him.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do as well. I don't think that they're never, ever, ever gonna, because there's a chance that Cass could crash and burn as a single star, and then they have to go back to the well that worked, right? And it's, I hope it works out for him. I really do, just because you hate to see tag teams break up and then nobody's a star. But there's always that chance that it doesn't work out.
Yeah, very true. And I hope for both those guys they do their own thing and work out and for their strengths and just do good things down the line here. You just have little fears, those are always things you got to worry about when change happens. So, but yeah, I think that's pretty much everything.
That's it for Raw. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, hey, we thank you all for joining us tonight.
We do have to do a rating.
Rate it, right? I almost forgot, man. So, yeah. For me, I want to give this thing a 6. I think it had some good moments, but it also had a lot of moments where it's just kind of just there. I wasn't thrilled about everything that was on this show. Some decent matchups, nothing super spectacular. I think when you had Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe lock up, that was probably one of the biggest highlights you had here when it comes to wrestling. Other than that, decent show.
Yeah, certainly. The Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe match is the thing the match you need to see. Definitely go see the Enzo and Cass stuff, because you do need to see the turn by Cass. It's something that I don't think you should just hear it out of somebody's mouth. You need to go watch it yourself, because I thought Cass did really well in that, and Enzo as well did a great job in selling it. So, yeah, definitely. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, guys, once again, we appreciate everyone who tuned in tonight. Make sure you go check us out on W2Mnet.com and 411mania.com. Also, once again, go subscribe at Wrestling to the Max or the W2M Network. And, besides that, we once again thank you, and we will see you guys down the road.
Later.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.